It's another absurd day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Karlov Manor continues to cause problems. This time, it's financial devastation. On top of that, we have to talk about the crazy robot invasion that's going on with Magic right now. Beep, boop, beep, does not compute.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a glorious installment of Mega Magic News. We've got what's going on with Karlov. We've got the robot invasion, and we're going to talk about the insane state of MTGO. I know this is something I haven't talked about in a while, but you need to hear it. It's absolutely wild. So let's start out with what's going on with Karlov Manor. Well, the deal is this. Wizards of the Coast puts out a brand new set. You get your pre-release hype, then you get your pre-release where the prices drop off somewhat, and then by the time you get to release weekend, they've tailed off a bit. You hit the Monday afterwards where we are right now, and you start to get a really low dip. Well, this set has been hit extra hard. There's almost no value kicking around it aside from a handful of cards. The 3-year rotation has caused big problems for Karlov Manor, right? Where does it actually fit in to the meta? And if it's not fitting into the standard meta, how is it reaching out into other formats? And the answer is, it's crazy that a bunch of the money in the set is actually tied into like a common and an uncommon crime novelist. I only write about Crom the Barbarian. Crime novelist and Slime Against Humanity are a common and uncommon that have been doing half decently against the tides, but we'll see once they kind of level out. I guess Slime Against Humanity, you can use any amount in a deck, and people are having fun with that one. I expect that one to last a little bit longer. The Crime Novelist is a combo piece, but ultimately, it's very telling that some of the most interesting cards from the set, one random common and uncommon, rising up and getting attention because there's not enough mythics and things like that making a real impact, right? Delney has been cratering. He was one of the ones that people were really hot on. He's kind of cranked down. Massacre Girl is doing all right, but overall, the whole thing across the board is super rough. And on top of that, you have crazy underlying bot aspects tied into this too, where there's really weird prices going on across the market. Since we're talking about the finance aspect of it, it's not just Karlov Manor. There's a bunch of different cards that have these whipsaw prices, and people are trying to sort out what's going on. And it looks like there's a problem with some of these auto pricing bots that people have. So there can be a software glitch, a shift in how it operates. People can actually go out and start trying to do their own things to manipulate the market. But there has been a spate of basically super low prices, people putting in their orders, and those orders straight up just being canceled. Apparently, part of it has to do with the fact that you can auto load in pricing scripts, but when you do so, if a ton of people are doing so, then it can all happen at once, or you can end up with ones that are set for a particular date. I have to admit that I don't really know fully how all of that works in terms of Magic finance, because it's gotten really complicated from the days of just put the singles in the display and you're good to go, right? Nowadays, you'll find a lot of game stores don't even have prices on their cards because you go in and the price can fluctuate like that. I've done trades with people where this guy goes by the price guides and I know, okay, this is going to be fun. I've pulled out 200 cards I want from you. By the time he goes looking through the values of the cards, they've already shifted that day. That's how fast Magic market work in terms of like money and everything like. So we have a situation where TCG player is going absolutely wild. Karlov Manor is tanking hardcore. And honestly, it doesn't really look like it's going to bounce, which is part of the craziness. Normally you have pre-release and then you go release, boom, 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 bam, and then there's boom. But Karlov Manor doesn't really feel like it has that vibe. There's not enough cards to pull that off. So I think it's just going to go boom and stay crashed, which is really bad news for the set, right? Wizards of the Coast has already seen a huge drop off. Like I said, some stores have sent 75% of their product back. I've heard from shops that only sold one booster box of it. So understand that all this is happening to card prices while the card supply is choked off, right? Like fewer boxes than ever are being opened of this stuff, which means fewer singles are entering the market. There should theoretically be like some kind of price spike as a result of that. When you have fewer cards and more players to have them, they should be more expensive, but we're not seeing that because Karlov Manor is essentially being universally panned. It is not landing well anywhere. I haven't really heard, aside from one or two anecdotal incidences, I haven't really heard of anybody having a really banger time with this set, and it's showing in the financial markets. And also, that ties into the whole robots taking over. With the auto pricing and everything that's going on, you can literally put your cards out for sale and wake up and find out that you've sold a $50 card for $1. And then you turn around and go, cancel that, and now you got the bad blood that's going on because of that. So the robot stuff, there's more levels to talk about when it comes to that as well. But let's dip in to the MTGO wildness. Now, I played MTGO back in the day. For those of you who don't know, real quick, MTGO is like Arena's great-great-grandpappy. It's a game that was made like decades ago. It has all of the Magic cards ever made in it, right? And you can actually get them super cheap. You can't physically own the cards, but last time I checked, you could get a Black Lotus for like $5. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was cheaper. The reason for that is obviously they're just digital cards. You can only play them like you play on Arena, but the difference is you actually own the cards in your MTGO account. So there is that variance where you're like, hey, these are mine. I can actually turn them into actual physical card collections, but only for the newest set. So let's say for Karlov Manor, you collected up one of every card. You can actually redeem those cards. They'll be removed from your digital account and they will send you a physical set of the cards. So there are some people who use MTGO as a way to basically cash out. I'm going to build up a collection. I'm going to turn it into physical cards and sell the physical cards, or I'm going to sell the redemption ability to somebody else. So there are people who use MTGO to make a little bit of money here or there on the side selling these sets. But ultimately, MTGO it has every card, but it's also really clunky. There's a lot of buggy cards. There's a lot of issues with it. So ultimately, I've mostly kind of leaned towards playing Arena when I'm looking for casual Magic. MTGO is the more one-to-one magical experience. So let's be real. If you want to have drafts and other events that are actually like the real deal where you play against the same people and it's not all this underlying, we're going to smooth out your hands and we're going to match people with the same rates up across the entire platform as opposed to just particular events, it literally is a one-to-one Magic experience. So in some ways, it has a lot to recommend it, but it has some massive flaws. And what's going on right now is absolutely insane, okay? So Pioneer, Standard, Legacy, Modern, and Pauper. Playing any of those formats at all can result in the game deciding to either give you a forced tie or a forced loss randomly. Like you're just, hey, I'm gonna play Magic, and the game's like, no, you're not. You just lost. And it's like, what? Is there a way to avoid this? Yeah, the way to avoid this is don't play Pioneer, Standard, Legacy, Modern, or Pauper. So, you've got that going on. Well, where are you going to go? Draft? Draft might be the one place it's okay to go because apparently there's a bug in Draft where you can just get free cards. I decided since we were talking about MTGO, I may as well go down the rabbit hole and take a good look at how everything's going because I expect it's going to be a long time before we talk about it again. And the next time we talk about it might be when we're going, it's completely been shut down. Because remember, MTGO isn't run by Wizards of the Coast anymore. They sunsetted it. They handed it off to Daybreak Games and said, it's your baby now. It can sink or swim, whatever. We're done with it. The only thing we're going to do is provide you with X number of sets so you can still do the physical redemptions. Now, some people did say that Daybreak is trying to keep the game going, but it seems like they're having some real problems. So, you play in a draft and you make your first pick in the pack, it'll show up with 2 copies of the same card. It'll give you 2 copies of the same card. You get them in the draft, you get to keep them afterwards. So I mean, that's a dupe that works in your favor. But the problem is, when you do stuff like this, you can easily get smacked on the wrist or just booted off the platform entirely. If it happens to you once, you might get blamed for it even if you're not the reason for it. But if you do it multiple times, then you're going to get nailed for taking advantage of bugs. And that's how MTGO works. Like, if you have a bug, they'll tend to compensate you for the bug. But if you do it again, they'll nail you for it. Even if it's just straight up, I had this bug in this draft. Now I got these cards. I didn't get them specifically because I'm trying to abuse the bug. I'm just trying to play Magic, and the bug happened again. You can get slapped down for that. So that is a genuine problem, not being able to play the cards because they're buggy, right? It's so bad, actually. I saw somebody going, yo, I don't want to play Arena. I want to play MTGO. I think it's really cool, but also I think it's really expensive. The events cost too much, and the way the program works, I don't really want to put a bunch of money into it. How can I free play? And the answers were amazing. They ranged from you can't free play to go and rent from a bot. You can just get a few ticket rental from a bot and play Penny Dreadful, which is like the cheapest format. Although for MTGO, because of the card prices on there, they're like Pauper style. Well, Pauper's based on commons, but their cheap price card formats actually have way more range in what you can use because there are a ton of cards that fit into that. So you had some people saying, don't want to spend money? You have to spend money. The only one that I could see where it was don't spend money. Okay, here's the plan. Log into the client and stay logged in at all times, because every once in a while they'll have a crash. And when they crash, they'll compensate you by giving you a free draft. So basically, if you want to play MTGO for free, you need to have it installed, leave it running, and then maybe twice a year it'll collapse and you'll get a free draft. So it's not great in that regard. The fact that you can cash out of it definitely makes it one level above Arena, where you can get your cards, you can sell them to a bot, turn them into tickets, and tickets are what act as MTGO's inner currency. You can sell those off, use them to get into events, buy stuff from Wizards, all this kind of thing, right? Tickets are the main lifeblood, and one of Wizards' biggest problems with this, right? Where they basically went, okay, we don't want you to be able to buy and sell your cards without us being in the middle, so Arena is just going to be completely different. We're going to scrap that concept. But there's also a dark side to having this sort of economy where you're completely in control of it, and that is the account theft situation that's going on the MTGO, where basically people will get your account information, log into your account, sell all your stuff to a bot, and then basically have that money sent to them via PayPal. It's such a common thing that the bots end up giving you like, yo, here's our email. If somebody's stolen your stuff, you can contact us. We'll help you sort out who it is so you can go through. It's this whole big thing. It's been an ongoing issue. Now, the biggest thing that really made me decide that I was going to talk about MTGO today is the whole fact that Karlov Manor, so they messed up, okay? There was a problem with, I believe it was drafts, and it caused a bunch of people issues. So, like I said, when there's problems, they compensate you. The problem is their compensation completely tanked the market for Karlov Manor. You can get the entire set of Karlov Manor online for $35. And apparently half the value of that is based on like one card, right? So how do we get here? Wait a minute. It's like you can get all the cards from Karlov Manor for $35 and in a redeemable set that you can then redeem because it's the brand new set? Yes. So how did we get here? Well, the developers messed up really, really badly. And in terms of the compensation they gave up for the messed up draft, they gave out full sets of Karlov Manor. So you have all these people, sorry your draft didn't go well, here's a complete set. And some people are just like, whoa, okay, I'm going to go sell this to the bot. Oh, okay, I'm going to like cash this out, right? Like, oh, I'm going to get this shipped to me. So there's this flurry of activity. The market absolutely crashes completely down into the ground. And like, about an hour ago, maybe 2 hours, depending on when you see the video or whatever. But really, really recently, there was just a post going, so hey guys, we messed up and we gave everybody these sets, and so now we're undoing it. And this is where it gets ugly and sticky, because what do you do with the set that went ahead and sold? Like, what do you do with an account that sold the set? Like, what are you going to give them negative cards? Like, this is on you. I can understand why you're trying to rewind it, because literally, it's crashed the economy. You can't leave it. But at the same time, what do you do then? Do you go and take those cards back from the bots? Like, once they're one step removed, how do you even fix the problem? And this is all like, everything about this feels automated, right? You roll out the automatic solution. Boom. Everybody gets these packs. Every single step of the way. You've got bots in the middle. That's what's causing the pricing problems over on TCG Player. Oh, by the way, if you're going to go over to TCG Player, I have a TCG Player link. And if you use that when you're shopping, I actually get a little taste of that too. So make sure to use my TCG Player link when you're over there going, who's got stuff on too cheap? I'm going to snag it all up, right? Although bear in mind, if you find deals that are too good, a lot of the time, the sellers will just cancel it on you. And actually, you know what? Speaking of deals that are too good, before we talk anymore about the robots, there's an official Magic Historian deck box. Actually, there's multiple options of this. I did an entire promotional video for it over on my Hatcher channel. I'll leave it linked at the end of the video so you can see the true glory of the best deck box ever made. And I'll leave a link down in the description if you're already like, no, I don't even need to see the video. Give it to me now. You can either get my Shield logo or you can get an Owner of Fine Luxury cardboard rectangle box. And they're both fantastic. But again, I'll link that at the end of the video so you can go and see me showing it off majestically. Now, the robot thing that's going on with Magic, we're seeing it on every level. I feel like one day we're going to get to the point where you have Magic cards being designed by AI. The artwork's done by them, the card design's done by them, the play testing is done by them, and on some levels, I don't like the idea of artwork being AI. I don't like Magic artists being left out in the cold. They're the ones who bring my favorite game to life. But in terms of the actual card mechanics and play testing, it feels like the writing they're putting on the cards now is super clunky, like cases and stuff like that. So it could be solved by an AI that will spend the time to actually make it make more sense. Plus, AI can spend a whole bunch of time play testing and finding all kinds of problems, although I suspect Wizards doesn't care about that. They're totally happy to throw it all out, and whatever happens, that's your problem, as long as it saves them money. But this robot aspect is creeping into, like, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there are card sorting robots now, and they're becoming more and more prevalent. The first ones were like thousands and thousands of dollars, but people are coming together with little STL files that'll help you print out parts of them yourself with a 3D printer, and it's getting to the point where you can make your own card sorting machine, depending on how things go, for like under $1,000, which is still a hefty price tag. But it speaks to the nature of this game that people are really, I'm going to build these machines to sort my cards. And it begs the question, how long does it take before we go from cards that are capable of machines that are capable of sorting the cards to the machines that just straight up play? Like, people will be playing on Spell Table, and then you'll have two card sorting robots that have been programmed to play Magic playing against each other, right? Like that kind of novelty is pretty crazy. Now, the card sorting technology is still somewhat in its infancy. In terms of actually identifying cards, the software's gotten great. There are a number of apps you can download where you can just point it at Magic cards, and most of the time, it's bang on like that. The biggest issue for these card sorting machines actually happens to be not damaging the cards. So figuring out a way to either pick them up with suction cups or something else where the cards don't get damaged, because Magic cards have been getting flimsier and flimsier. And if the card sorting bot can't grab the thing properly, it can damage the card that way. Also, when releasing the card, it can just bash it up too. But it's just wild. Like, I feel like a dinosaur, right? Because I started Magic before you could even look online and see what's in a set. And now we've got a part where MTG Finance is full of robots. They price your cards, they reprice your cards, they check the market. Obviously, they cause problems on the side. MTGO has a bunch of bots. You go to a bot, you can rent cards from this bot. You can buy cards from this bot. And now they have shredder bots where, if, let's say you have a crazy amount of bulk in your MTGO collection, where you're like, I have 50 copies of this common from drafting, and literally no bots will buy it from me, it's worthless. They have shredder bots now, which are designed to shred your digital cards. You just feed them to the bot to get them out of your collection. So every step along the way is just being turned into. Are we just going to get to a future where some kind of AI me is telling your guys, your robot proxies about robot proxies, and we're all just trapped inside little Wally pods? Like, I love things that make life more convenient, and a card sorting robot, especially for stores, you're buying bulk and whatever, that is a lifesaver. But I just find it fascinating to see all of this happening because I've been around for 30 years when Magic was just like, we're playing it on dinosaurs, glumping around and stuff. And now it's super hardcore techno. I can scan your deck from across the table with my phone, know the entire value of it, look up strategies to defeat it. Like, it's incredible. It cuts both ways. So the caveman brain is like, oh no, but the future man brain's like, bring it on, son. Bring it on. Speaking of bringing it on, bring yourself on one of these deck boxes. Link on the screen now to go and check the video out about that. I'll be live streaming tonight on my other channel. Come by if you want to say hello. Thanks for being here. See you next time.